Before we get into today's story, take 1 second to like this video, subscribe to Hot Tea Kold Facts, and share this episode with somebody who cares about missing person cases, because sharing stories like this matters. Sometimes attention is pressure. Sometimes pressure keeps a name from being forgotten. And today we are talking about a young Black woman whose name still deserves answers. Keeshae Jacobs. She was 21 years old. She was from Richmond, Virginia. She was somebody's daughter, somebody's friend, somebody's loved one. And in September 2016, she sent her mother a message that sounded simple. She said she was spending the night with a friend. She said she would be home the next day. But the next day came, and Keeshae did not come home. Her phone went quiet. Her family could not reach her. And from that moment on, one question followed this case for years. What happened to Keeshae Jacobs? But this story is not only about one missing woman. This is also a deeper look at the man publicly connected to her disappearance, the other names and survivor accounts connected to his history, and the warning signs people would later question. Because when a young woman disappears, and years later the person connected to her case is convicted of murdering another woman, you have to ask, how many red flags were there before everyone understood the danger? This is Hot Tea Kold Facts. The tea is hot, but the facts are cold. Keeshae Unique Jacobs was 21 years old when she disappeared. She lived in Richmond, Virginia, and by the accounts shared publicly, she was close to her mother, Toni Jacobs. That relationship matters because Toni knew her daughter. She knew her habits. She knew how Keeshae communicated. She knew what was normal and what was not. So when Keeshae stopped responding, Toni did not brush it off. She knew something was wrong. And that is something we see in so many missing person cases. Families often recognize danger before the public does. A mother knows when silence is not normal. A sister knows when a missed call feels different. A friend knows when a message does not sound right. So here is the first question for you. When someone who usually checks in suddenly goes silent, how long should a family have to wait before everyone takes it seriously? Because in Keeshae's case, her mother did not have the luxury of ignoring her instincts. The timeline begins on September 26, 2016. Keeshae was last seen in Richmond, Virginia, in the Churchill area, near the 3100 block of East Broad Street, not far from Chimborazo Park. That area became the last known public point in her timeline. It gave investigators a place to start. It gave her family a location to hold on to. And it gave this story the place where Keeshae's normal life became a mystery. At some point, Keeshae texted her mother and said she was spending the night with a friend. She said she would come home the next day. On its own, that message does not sound alarming. A 21-year-old woman spending the night with a friend is not unusual. A young adult telling her mother she will be home tomorrow is not suspicious by itself. But what happened after that changed everything. Keeshae never came home. She did not follow up. She did not check in. Her mother's calls did not lead to the answer she needed. And eventually, the silence became impossible to explain. So now ask yourself, what would make a young woman tell her mother she was coming home and then never be heard from again? Did she willingly stay somewhere longer than expected? Did she meet someone she trusted? Did something happen inside a home? Did someone else get control of her phone? Or did Keeshae never get the chance to leave? Those are hard questions, but those questions sit at the center of this case. When someone disappears after a specific last known location, investigators usually look at the people around them. Who saw her last? Who was she with? Who had access to her? Who knew where she was supposed to be? Who was the last person to hear from her? And most importantly, who had the opportunity to make her disappear? In Keeshae's case, police eventually focused attention on a person of interest. His name has been publicly reported as Otis Lee Tucker. According to reporting, Tucker was believed to have been with Keeshae around the time she disappeared. But for years, there was no arrest in Keeshae's case, no recovered remains, no full public explanation, no clean answer. Just a family trying to keep her name alive while the case sat with painful, unanswered questions. And then, years later, Otis Lee Tucker's name became connected to another woman, a woman named Ashley Denise Fowler. Ashley was killed in Jacksonville, Florida, on November 1st, 2022. Tucker later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and tampering with evidence in Ashley's case, and he was sentenced to life in prison. Reports describe Ashley's killing as brutal. She was reportedly beaten with a hammer and strangled. Ashley Fowler's case matters because it is not rumor. It is not suspicion. It is a confirmed murder conviction. And once the public learned that Tucker had also been a person of interest in Keeshae Jacobs' disappearance, the questions around Keeshae's case became even heavier. Because now, the same man publicly connected to Keeshae's disappearance had been convicted in the murder of another woman. And Ashley Fowler was not the only concerning connection in Tucker's reported history. There was also an unnamed Richmond woman, reportedly a co-worker, who accused Tucker of attacking her about 6 days before Keeshae disappeared. According to public reporting, that woman accused him of rape, strangulation, and abduction. The charges were later reduced in a plea deal. In 2017, Tucker was convicted of strangulation and bodily injury. He served 5 years. That means days before Keeshae vanished, another woman had reportedly accused the same man of serious violence. Then Keeshae disappeared. Years later, police would say Tucker admitted he was with Keeshae when she died, and that he disposed of her body. But he did not admit to killing her. And because of an agreement connected to his cooperation, he was not charged in connection with Keeshae's death. That is one of the most painful parts of this case. For Keeshae's family, that kind of statement may answer one question, but it opens many more. How did Keeshae die? Where was her body taken? Why dispose of her body at all? And why has her family still not been able to bring her home? There was also another Richmond woman who publicly described Tucker as violent after meeting him through a dating site. She said he used the name Omar. She has described herself as the one that got away. I am not going to name her here, but her account matters because it adds to the broader public concern about Tucker's alleged pattern of violence toward women. There were also reports about violent incidents from Tucker's past involving young victims. The unnamed underage victims included a girl Tucker allegedly slashed when he was around 8 years old, and a 14-year-old girl connected to a teen-era Chesapeake case. Because these victims were minors, and because public reporting does not provide full names, complete case details, or clear conviction information for every incident, those reports should not be treated the same way as Ashley Fowler's confirmed murder conviction. But they are part of the reported history people point to when they ask whether Tucker showed signs of violence long before Keeshae disappeared. There is also the case of Rockhale Glenn. Rockhale Glenn was a 22-year-old man found dismembered in Philadelphia in 2009. His family has publicly raised suspicions about Tucker. But this distinction is important. Rockhale Glenn is not a confirmed Tucker victim. Authorities charged a 15-year-old cousin in Rockhale's killing. Tucker was never charged in Rockhale Glenn's death. So we cannot present Rockhale as a confirmed victim connected to Tucker. We can only say that suspicions have been publicly raised. That difference matters. Cold facts does not turn suspicion into fact. We can say what has been alleged. We can say what families have questioned. We can say what has been publicly reported. But we cannot say something is confirmed when it is not. Still, when you place the reported history side by side, the pattern is disturbing. Keeshae Jacobs disappeared in 2016. Ashley Denise Fowler was murdered in 2022. An unnamed Richmond co-worker accused Tucker of serious violence days before Keeshae vanished. Another unnamed woman said she survived a violent encounter after meeting him through a dating site. There were reported juvenile and teen incidents involving young victims. And Rockhale Glenn's family raised suspicions, even though Tucker was never charged. Some of these connections are confirmed by convictions. Some are survivor accounts. Some are allegations. Some are family suspicions. and some are reported history without fulfilling public details. But all of them became part of the larger public conversation around Otis Lee Tucker and the question of whether warning signs were missed. Now let's come back to Keeshae. For years, her family searched without answers. They did not know where she was. They did not know if she was alive. They did not know exactly what headed after that last text. Then Richmond police later said they had received information that led them to determine Keeshae was no longer alive. That changed the case, but it did not bring closure. Because being told someone is no longer alive is not the same as bringing them home. It is not the same as recovering their remains. It is not the same as knowing exactly how they died. It is not the same as accountability. According to public reporting, Tucker admitted he was with Keeshae when Keeshae to disposing of her body, but he did not admit to killing her, and because of an agreement tied to his cooperation, he was not charged in connection with Keeshae's death. For Keeshae's mother, Toni Jacobs, that is not closure. That is another wound. Because if someone says they were with your daughter when she died and says they disposed of her body, but does not say they killed her, what are you supposed to do with that? What happened after the last text? What happened inside that home? Where was Keeshae taken, and why has she still not been recovered? Toni Jacobs did not just lose a daughter. She had to become an advocate. She had to keep saying Keeshae's name. She had to ask the public for help. She had to push for attention. She had to live with years of not knowing. That is part of what makes this case so painful. Keeshae's story did not become a massive national headline in the way some missing person cases do. Her family had to fight to keep her name in the public eye, and that is something we see too often in cases involving missing Black women and girls. Families have to push, they have to plead, they have to organize, they have to keep the flyers moving, they have to keep the story alive themselves. In missing person cases, time matters. The first days matter. The first week matters. Witnesses remember more. Surveillance may still exist. Phones may still hold useful information. People may still be nearby. But when attention comes late, the trail gets colder. Keeshae's case shows what happens when a family is left in limbo. For years, her family hoped for answers. Then, they were told she was no longer alive. But even then, they did not get the full truth. They did not get her remains. They did not get a murder charge in her case. They did not get a complete explanation of what happened. So now let's walk through what we know. Cold fact number 1. Keeshae Jacobs was 21 years old when she disappeared. Cold fact number 2. She was last seen on September 26, 2016, in Richmond, Virginia, in the Churchill area near East Broad Street and Chimborazo Park. Cold fact number 3. She texted her mother saying she was spending the night with a friend and would be home the next day. Cold fact number 4. She never returned home. Cold fact number 5. Her family could not reach her, and her disappearance was treated as suspicious. Cold fact number 6. Otis Lee Tucker was publicly identified as a person of interest in Keeshae's disappearance. Cold fact number 7. Tucker later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and tampering with evidence in the separate murder of Ashley Denise Fowler in Jacksonville, Florida. Cold fact number 8. Tucker was sentenced to life in prison for Ashley Fowler's murder. Cold fact number 9. Ashley Denise Fowler is the clearest confirmed murder conviction connected to Tucker. Cold fact number 10. An unnamed Richmond woman reportedly accused Tucker of rape, strangulation, and abduction days before Keeshae disappeared. Cold fact number 11. Those charges were reduced, and Tucker was later convicted of strangulation and bodily injury. Cold fact number 12. Another unnamed Richmond woman publicly described Tucker as violent after meeting him through a dating site where she said he used the name Omar. Cold fact number 13. Reported juvenile and teen incidents involving unnamed underage victims have also been publicly discussed, but full case details are not publicly clear. Cold fact number 14. Rockhale Glen's family has raised suspicions about Tucker, but Tucker was never charged in Rockhale's killing. Cold fact number 15. In 2024, Richmond police said they had received information that led them to determine Keeshae was no longer alive. The unnamed Richmond co-worker? The dating site survivor account? Rockhale Glen's family suspicions? The cooperation agreement? Or the fact that Keeshae's family still does not have her home? And if this story moved you, please like this video, subscribe to Hot Tea Kold Facts, and share it. Not just for the channel. Share it because Keeshae's name still deserves to be heard. Share it because families of missing Black women deserve attention. Share it because somebody, somewhere, may know something. If you would like to dive deeper into Otis Tucker's trail of horror, visit the Reopen the Case Foundation. This has been Hot Tea Kold Facts. The tea was hot, but the facts stayed cold. And the question still remains: who will finally tell the whole truth about what happened to Keeshae Jacobs?